just wanted just to ask, just Torrey Craig obviously suffered the knee injury. A, his status, and B, you already had that short with Dario. Now you have him. How do you move forward, as far as your rotations and things of that sort?
Well, we'll find out more. He got some testing done yesterday. All of that came back clean, but he's still sore. So I can't make much of a statement on his availability or anything like that. We're going to get through today. We'll have a light practice today and put him through some paces, and then we'll be able to make a better statement about his availability tomorrow, and then we'll adjust accordingly. We have guys that can play more minutes. Cam Johnson didn't get a ton of minutes the other night. He can play more, and then you have Abdul Dooley can play in those minutes. So it's still something we're assessing, but his testing did come back favorably.
On your right, Steve.
Hi, Monty, over here. Oh, over here. Hi. We've had the 2 days between games now. Change of city, change of arena. As much as the Bucks might want to feel like this is sort of reset on the series, what can you and your guys do to make sure you've got continuity and that the things that you had in games 1 and 2 are still there and tappable?
I mean, I'm not going to talk about too much. It's strategically and tactically, but I think for us, the thing that's been consistent is the culture pieces that we try to implement every day and keep our day the same on the road, at home. We've been a work team all year for 2 years since we've been in Phoenix, and that's been something that has helped our program and our young guys approach the game a certain way. And so we're going to have our film session today. We're going to have a mental workout. We're going to walk through things that we need to. We're going to get our work in. And we have enough veteran leadership on our team to help our guys with the differences between playoff home and playoff road. And other than that, we try not to overthink it too much. And we think that helps our guys a ton.
Are those the habits that you think are behind your team's road record, best in the league this year?
I don't know. I hope so. I mean, I'm sure it's also the play of our guys, and certainly having a guy like Chris and having him in book in certain situations down the stretch, being able to allow those guys to orchestrate a lot of the situations that we're in, and then defensively having continuity and having certain guys, DA, Jay, Mikhail, Cam, I think all of the stuff helps you, but I hadn't really had a chance to dive into the road portion, trying to figure out why. We just try to do what we think is necessary to help us in those situations.
Dave, here on the left.
Monty, I want to take you a bit of a trip down memory lane and start with some trivia, if you'll indulge me. You once played on a team where you were one of 4 future head coaches. Do you think you can name the other guys?
So I played with Doc and Avery in San Antonio, and Vinny Del Negro.
There you go. Yeah. You were, I think, Devin's age at that time, 24 years old. Did that shape you at all? And when you're in a locker room with guys who end up being head coaches, do you pick up on characteristics or tendencies that they have that make you see that guy could be on the sidelines like Bob Hill is?
Yeah, not in reference to myself though, because I was probably the last guy that they would have thought was going to be a head coach. You could see it on Avery, you could see it on Doc. Vinny had a high basketball IQ. Chuck Person was off the charts. Will Perdue, I probably didn't fit that group. So if I was looking for somebody, it'd be, like Campaign, someone that just goes out there and hoops and doesn't really strike you as someone that's going to be a head coach someday, it could be him, because that's probably who I was most like. I didn't really fit any of those paradigms that you would look at to say that guy's going to be in a position to be a head coach someday.
When did you start seeing yourself? What stage of your career did you think, okay, maybe that is going to be?
Doc told me when I was in Orlando that I would coach, and I just thought he was just talking and nuts. When I was done playing, Pop opened the door and invited me to be around the team, and I looked up to him in a way that he probably can't even imagine, and realized that that was, someone I respected, someone I wanted to, emulate. And I loved the gym. That was the only thing I knew. My whole life I've been in the gym, and I was just in the gym with them every day, taking notes, and I had to learn how to navigate an NBA day as a coach. Because as a player, you have back then you had like a 4-hour, 5-hour day as a player, and then you go home. As a coach, it's a much longer day, and then you go home, and it's a much longer night. And I had guys like Brett Brown and PJ was huge for me. Donnie Newman, Bud was in San Antonio, and I was watching all those guys. I had no idea what to do, and they allowed me to just come take notes and watch, and I would just go home. And they probably thought I was weird because I didn't say a lot. I just didn't know what an NBA day looked like as a coach, because as a player, it's totally different.
Gina?
Hey, Monty, when you've talked about Chris and Book and those early days and kind of figuring things out together, you've used the word sacrifice to describe like kind of what they've had to do. As an outsider, you look at their numbers and you say, okay, they're putting up the most points the backcourt's had in the first 2 NBA Finals games ever, but what are maybe some of the subtle sacrifices that they've had to make throughout the season that maybe we don't notice that have helped complement each other, but also have helped the team so much as well?
It's hard to say. I'm sure that they could probably shoot more than they do. Their sacrifice has allowed Mikal and Cam Johnson to elevate their careers. It certainly has helped DA. When you look at Chris and Book, they see so many defenses, and they don't force the issue. That's the one thing I've noticed with those guys. Very rarely do they wave somebody out of their way, meaning their own teammate. They just make the next right play, and I think that's one sacrifice. And two, I think they both came into this thing willingly thinking, I may have to share some of the whatever that is, shine, whatever. I think they both came into it knowing that they may have to do that, and it's helped our team. I don't think they had to share it with each other as much as they've had to share it with Mikal and DA and some of our guys who've, elevated their games this year.
We'll go Brian, last question in here. Sorry.
Monty, I'm speaking of Pop in San Antonio. The Olympic team plays its first exhibition game tonight. Just from your time on the staff, what's the challenge like for the NBA coaches? Not having series going to win one, play the next one. I know it's natural for Coach K, obviously, but does it take away from some of Pop's greatness as a coach to not be able to say we saw what they did in game one and now we're going to adjust to it in game two?
I don't think so, because I think they go into it knowing what the situation is, and there's a vast history of Olympic reference points, even in losses, where we know like this possession, this game could be it, so I don't think it's that hard. I think it may be harder for the players because a lot of them go from a playoff or have gone from a playoff series right into Olympic play. But even those guys, Kevin's been in that situation before. A number of the guys, Kevin Love, they've all been there. So I think that's why continuity in the program is important, because the guys who've been there know like this possession, this run in the game could change the outcome. And I just go back to our game against Serbia, where I think it was Bogdanovic had a shot to send it to overtime, and we were able to. That shot was online. It was just short. And the next day we came into a film session, and we had a really tough film session that day. And our guys from that point on understood that one shot like that can change the whole thing. And from there on, we dominated. And so I don't think it'll be tough for our guys to understand that. I think it's important to have exhibition games against different teams, because that's what you're going to see. You're typically not going to see the same team over and over again unless you're playing in your pool and then one of your pool teams makes it to the medal round. But I don't think they'll have a problem with that. I think we have a history and enough history to know that everything counts.
Thank you, Coach.
I know it's not exactly the same situation, but a month ago you guys were down 0-2 to the Nets coming back home. Does it help at all that you've been kind of through this before in these playoffs and come out the other side of it in advance?
Yeah, I mean, I think during the regular season, you do things that, you reference, you build habits, things that you can lean on. So, your playoff experiences, your playoff journey, I think we're all human. At the end of the day, it doesn't mean anything, but, it's, we're always trying to learn and grow. And, you just have those reference points. And we know we got to play well going into tomorrow night's Game 3.
Jim on the right.
Hey, Mike. Did Giannis make it through, the post game and this days off healthy? I know he had kind of some bumps and bruises last game.
Yeah, no, he's in a good place. Yes.
Were you able to, as you kind of look at these last two games, you mentioned obviously it starts defense first, but offensively, do you think there were moments of falling kind of back into some of the isolation or the one-on-one type stuff that maybe you saw in some of the other series at times where the ball kind of stopped moving? And if so, is that an emphasis going forward a little bit?
Yeah, I think our ball movement can be a little bit better, getting to second actions and multiple actions and plays and moving people. So, it's something that's good. You play against a good defensive team. I think we need a little bit of that.
Jeff, over here on the left.
Mike, you've mentioned John Horst's name a couple times over the last two series, and I wanted to know about your working relationship with him a little bit and maybe the atmosphere that he's created to allow you guys to put the team together as it is.
Yeah, I mean, he's the most incredible partner. Can't imagine a better, GM that, probably I guess most importantly does an amazing job at his job of, putting together the team, whether it's making trades, drafting, free agency. He's just incredible at what he does. And then, his openness and willingness to have conversation, to be inclusive, his staff, the coaching staff, the players, his relationship with our players, his relationship with our owners. It's like the GM is a job that I don't think everybody understands all the things that come underneath that hat. I think he does them all at an incredibly high level, and I just beyond appreciative of, being a part of what he's put together.
Dwayne, here in the front.
Yeah, Coach, who does Booker and Paul remind you of that you've played against this season?
Booker and Paul. I know. I'm being a jerk. I'm probably not great at this, kind of trying to compare and stuff. And they're unique. And Chris Paul's been around a long time, so you've kind of, seen and experienced him at different levels, including playoff series and things like that. And Booker's relatively young, but he's put his stamp on our league at a very young age, and they're very good players. I'm having a hard enough time trying to figure out how to guard those two. I can't come up with a good comparison for you. Yeah.
Vince in the back.
Hey, Coach. Along the lines of Chris Paul, you can't take away everything that he's good at that he wants to do. But what are the things that you're willing to concede? Is it the contested jump shots? Is it if he scores 30 but the ball sticks? Are there things that you're just willing to concede from an offensive standpoint with him?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think any coach is going to say, concede, but I think, it's at the same breath, every coach is probably going to say it's hard to take everything away. So I think if he's having to take tough shots, if we're making the shots that he's creating for his teammates difficult, that's kind of the mindset, is just, can we make everything hard on Chris Paul? Can we make everything hard on them? And there's been stretches when we've done that well, and there's been stretches where we need to be a lot better. But I think just hopefully trying to make it hard on him, make him uncomfortable, which is, easier said than done.
Lisa on the right.
Hi, Coach. What's the first thing you want your team to get much better at Game 3? What's the first thing on your mind?
No, I think, we just got to play. I just want the guys to come and play. We feel like we can play better on both ends of the court. I want them to be free. I want them to compete and play. It's not one thing that's going to, it's basketball is a lot of individual moments, things happening on both ends of the court. You got to win some of those battles, some of those 50-50 balls. You got to be good in transition defense, keeping them off the free throw line, getting back and contesting shooters. There's so many things that go into winning, playing, fast and all those things. So I just want our guys to come and play. That's the most important thing for us.
Chris, any questions on Zoom?
Let's go to David.
Hey, Coach. Can you talk about Drew Holiday and the impact he has on your team, especially on defense?
Yeah, no, I think, having him, at kind of the front of our defense, I think his ability to impact the ball and be disruptive is very unique there, and still keep it in front and have the size and athleticism to do some switching. And he's a very, very good defender. We need every bit of that, against both Paul and Booker in this series, and when he switches on to other guys. But he's very, very unique, and I think he's a big part of when we're good defensively. It starts with Drew.
Ars?
Hello, Coach. I just wanted to ask if you feel that you have some adjustments to make offensively, or if you think that it's just a matter of time for the shots to finally start dropping in.
No, I mean, I think there's things that we can, hopefully tweak a little bit. I think there were some things that improved in the second game. We got to keep working to get better. And, when you get good looks, good opportunities, it's going to be helpful if we convert. And then sometimes you got to make some tough shots in the playoffs too. You need a little bit of both. But, I think we can get better. We can get, keep improving offensively going into the third game.
Steve, last question over here on the right.
Mike, what you talked about with Drew Holiday just there, as far as how much you guys are relying on him defensively, do you have to accept or concede that it's going to put a limitation on what he can do offensively, just if only from an energy standpoint?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think there is a great challenge for Drew. The amount of effort that it takes, and that we're putting that on his shoulders defensively is significant. But it's the playoffs, it's the finals. I think everybody's got to be able to do it at a high level on both ends of the court. But certainly appreciate and respect what Drew's got to do defensively, and do it on big minutes. But we feel like he can do both. He can deliver on a big way on defense, and still deliver in a big way on offense too.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.